Hi, in this tutorial series, I will show you about the CRUD system, form validation, error message, etc. First, I am going to my database. My database name is Laravel Fundamental. I just created this using the phpMyAdmin. Now this is a fresh Laravel installation and I am doing everything from scratch. I am going to the .env file now and then change the database to Laravel Fundamental. This is my env file. From terminal, I will first now create a table in my database. PHP artisan make migration. I will create a migration file now. Then create students table. I have just created a migration here. Create students table. Here I am going to add some fields. Suppose string and student name. Another field is student email. Then I am going to run php artisan migrate. Here my migration tables are created. This is students table and here this is name and this is email. Now I will create a controller PHP artisan make controller student controller. So student controller has been created into app http controllers. Then this is student controller. I have route here. Route, this is web route. In this route I will add my controller app http controllers student controller. I am going to remove this and here student controller class, and then I am going to call a function, suppose home or index, and this is my home route. So I am going to give the name of this route, that is home. In the student controller I am going to create the function, that is public function and then index. I will return a view here, return view, and for example this is home page, home view. So I am going to create my view from resources views. This is welcome. I am going to rename it. This is home, and I am going to delete all the codes here. I am writing something. Let's see if it comes or not. Okay, so my development server is running, so I can use this as my URL. You see that when I go to the URL, main URL, then I am seeing that something comes. That means this text. Okay, now here I will write a template. I am going to give it a name, CRUD system or CRUD application, for example. Now I will use Bootstrap 5. I am going to search Bootstrap 5. This is Bootstrap 5. From here I will call the CSS. I am going to add the Bootstrap CSS here, and also JS file copy from here and putting that just in before ending the body tag. Now I will write my content, then a container, bootstrap container, row, then just a div. Okay, this is my div. Now I am going to check the, for example, card, bootstrap card layout. From here I am going to pick up a design. Suppose this design, copy. I am going to paste it here. This is card header and going to delete it. Card body, and this heading is, for example, add student. I am just going to create a form for my application. Okay, I will just add student, delete student, edit student, etc. So I am going to create my form. I am going to search here for form control. Then this is a form. I am going to use a form, suppose this one or this one. Okay, copy it from here and here I am going to paste it. Going to remove this. Just name the first field as student name and second field as student email. So this is name, student name, and the second field I will use here is student email. Copy this and paste here. So I have just created a form. I am going to align it. And then after these two fields, I am going to add a submit button. That is submit. Here I am going to use a bootstrap class primary button. Okay, so this is our form. Now I am going to refresh this page. We see that a nice form comes. We can make it form call 4. I am going to show data in another bootstrap div, call md, suppose 8. Here I will copy these codes, copy all this and paste here. That means another part come here. Okay, now 4 and 8, two part. So here I will show all the students, and this will be a table format. I am going here and search for tables, and I am going to copy any table and paste here. No data here. I am going to remove some, suppose this all students. Okay, this is okay for now. I am just giving here table border. Now refresh. This is our here card style has given this. I am going to remove this because I want it 100%. Okay, refresh. We see that we have form in the left side and in the right side a table. Here I am going to give a padding top, so a gap in the top. Okay, now what I will do, I will add a student in my database table, that is students table, and I will add name and email. So I am going to describe you about form. Suppose this is a form student, and I am going to write my HTML form code here. Okay, for name I am going to give a name and here email. So two text fields I have assigned the name for the student name as name, and the name field for the email is email. Now I will go to submit a form, but before submit this form I will have to define a route here. For example, when I will go to submit this form, what will happen? In order to submit this form, I will have to do one thing is CSRF. I will have to use this as a form protection. That means a token value will be generated when I will use the @ of CSRF. Okay, this is one requirements when you will submit a form. And another one is where I will submit the form data. I will submit the form data using a route. I am going to give the route name here. Suppose store. The store is the route. When I will submit the form, this route will be called. So I will have to define here the route. But remember, we will not use the get route because I am going to submit a form. When you will submit any form data using a route, then you will have to pick up it as a post route. Okay, that means this will be your post type route. So I will have to use post instead of get, and here I will give any name store, and then student controller class, then function name store, and this will be the name of my route. So here I give the name store, and this store is called here. This is name route. Okay, that means this name and email will be passed using this form in this route. That means it will be passed using this system. That means it will go to student controller's store function. So in the student controller, I will have to use a function that is store. And remember that when we will submit any form, that means a form request comes. So when I will use a controller and a request comes using the form, I will have to use a request class object. That means request, you can use any name here, request. Okay, that means you will have to call the request like this. So let's see what are in my request. Okay, so I am going to see what is coming using that request input. This is a built-in function. You can use input like this. So what will happen? Refresh this. I am going to put some name, some email, submit. You will see that the request comes. This underscore token value is coming due to this CSRF. Okay, and the other values, this one and this one, that comes what I give in this form. That means the request is coming successfully. Now what I will do, I will take the request from here, that means name and email. I am going to check if the particular field data is coming or not. Suppose request name. Now I refresh, go here and name, enter. You see that it is coming here using the store. So I can pick up the values using the form. As I can pick up the values in this way, request name means this is name field and this is the request object. Okay, so in this way we can get the form data. Now we can easily insert this into our table. That means I will have to create an object student equal to new student, but we know that this is actually a model, as I am going to use the eloquent system here. So what I will need to do, I will create a model here, PHP artisan make model, then give the name. As this is my student table, so I am going to give the name student. So model is created, this one. Okay, I am going to close that. Now I can use this way. So in the database I will insert value like this, student name, and what value will be there? The value that will be saved into my database is request name, that comes through the input field. That means this. That means request name I am going to assign student name, and here similar way in the student email I am going to assign the request email, and at last I am going to save using the save function. So my data will be saved into the database. Okay, now let's see if this works. Refresh, this one, submit. We did not call the student, that means controller's student. I will have to call the model here, app models, and then student. Okay, I go to refresh. You see that I go to refresh this, and you see that this one is inserted into my database successfully. That means my data is inserting. But here are some things to discuss, that is validation. I will show you how to validate the data. Okay, in this case, when I get some input from my form, from this form, here I can use a validation function. Okay, in Laravel you can easily use this. You will have to just call request, because all the requests that are coming I will use to validate, request validate, and in this parameter you will have to give the field name that I want to validate. Suppose name, I want to validate a name. So in this case, here I will have to use this symbol, and then I will have to tell what I want to validate. Suppose I want to make the field required. That means you cannot keep blank the input field. So you will have to give the name as required. Okay. If I do this, now if you go here, I am going to refresh this, and you see that if I keep this blank and submit, nothing will happen. That means this data is not inserting now, because this is required. I did not show any error message, so you do not understand what is happening, because when request validate is throwing an error in front of you, then actually nothing is submitted and you are returning to the back page, so you actually do not see anything. In order to understand, I will show this one using an error system. In Laravel, you can easily set up the error. I am going to show you, then you will understand. I am going to search. I am going to the main Laravel documentation, and here you can search by error. Here I am going. This is validation. I am going to pick up any code. Suppose errors any. There is a code. This one. Suppose I am going to copy this code, and in the top I am going to paste this. What is the error? This means if any errors come, errors any mean if you see any errors, then a div will be called alert, bootstrap alert, alert danger, and there you will see the error as a UL list. Errors all means all the errors that will come using this request validate function. What error you will receive here, that will come here as an array, and I will break that array using the for each, and each particular error will come one by one. So let's see what is going to be happen. Refresh. Suppose I do not give any name. Refresh, submit. Then you see that the error comes that the name field is required. So this is the error message you are seeing here. The name field is required. You can set up more things here. Suppose for email I also set up a required. Okay. Refresh, submit. You see that now it is showing email field required and name field required. If you give on field, suppose I give name, submit, then it is showing only the email field is required because I given the name here. Now, but you see that I give anything in the email, submit, then email is passing as a valid data. But actually this is not valid because I given just any string, and that is not email. So here you can add more condition using this one. You set up email, required email. That means this is one condition and this is another condition, and this way you can apply multiple conditions here. Okay, so email will be first time required, and then email we must have to be an valid email address. Now refresh, save, submit. Then you see that this one, but you see that this is not a valid email. Submit, and it is showing you that the email must be a valid email address. Okay, that means the validation is working fine. And here you see all the validations come this way, but there is another way. If you want to show the error message under the form, suppose the name, when I submit both blank, so this message will come under this box and this message will come under this box. How we can do it? This also can be easily done under the name input field. Okay, here we can use another one, that is error. This is a built-in blade directives error name. This name is this name that using which variable you are passing data of the form, you will have to give that name here. Now an error, and into here you can write any code. Suppose a span class, as this is an error message, I am going to make it red color, class, and you can use the bootstrap class text danger, and here you will have to write the error. In order to show the particular error, you can use the built-in message, this variable. Okay, now see what's happened. Refresh, submit. You see that the name field is required showing under the form. So this is a more better way to show the error message. I am going to make this off. Okay, I am going to show error this way, and under the email you can use the same thing, and this email will have to write here. So let's see, submit. You see that here the error message comes under the form. Now if you give the wrong email, you see that the email must be valid email address. But you see that when I give a valid on here, suppose this name, this is a valid name. Okay, this is a valid name, but when I make this invalid, the first valid field information is lost. We see that the name that we put here does not exist here anymore. So in order to fix this, you can use here another thing, that is value. As value, you can use a function that is old. Old means when you will submit this and another field will be in error state, then this value will be saved and this will not be lost. Now see that, suppose I give here a name, but this is error. Submit. You see that this one does not hide, this one is showing. So you can use the same thing, same value for the email, and here you will have to give email. Refresh. Now see that I'm going to give a name, but we know that this is not a valid email. Submit. It is showing the email must be valid email address, but this one not lost. What I have put in previous, that is showing here. When I give everything okay, then submit, and then it is stored in my database. Go to refresh here and this one comes. But when the message is successful, I do not see any success message. Now I will show you how to show the success message. I am going to call here. I am going to here. So you see that in the student controller, when there is an error, the lines after that will not be executed. Okay, this will automatically happen. If there is any error in this validation, the program will not execute the codes after that. When this one okay, that means there is no validation error, then these lines will be executed. And after executing and after saving the information here, I will have to return a success message. In this way, return redirect. Redirect is a function that means after saving some information into the database, where my program will go, that means where I will go. So that is called redirect. So in redirect, I can push here two systems. One is back and another one is route. You can use two way. If you use route, that means after saving the data into the database, I will go back to my home page. Okay, this is one way. We know that we have a home route here, so we can easily call here the route home. But in order to show the success message, here I will have to use a with function. Here is two parameters. One is suppose success, that means using which variable my data will be passed to the next route page. That means my information will go to home page, but it will carry a value using the success variable. And remember that success variable will first time work. That means only first time the success message will be shown. But if you refresh that page, that will gone, because it will take a value into session variable for only first time. I am showing, you will understand. Here put any message. Suppose data is added successfully. Okay, so this is the message I am going to take using the success message, and in this place I will have to print that. So in order to print that, I will have to call if session. In Laravel you can use session this way, session function. In this way you can call the session. So in this session I will check if this session has the value success, because when you pass here this message using this variable, this is actually assigned in a session variable, that is success. So I am going to check that here, that if the session data has any value, that's any variable, that's name is success. If this one is okay, has success, and here end if, okay, then I will show, suppose alert success, or I am going to use here another thing, that is, for example, or alert is okay, alert success. I am going to use this. Now I will print the success variable data here. So I will have to use the session. If you use a parameter into session, that means this session variable, that is now success, session success. So the session variable data will print here. Now I am going here, refresh this. I am going to add a student, submit. You will see that the data is added successfully. This message comes in this space, but this will happen on time, because after showing the data for the first time, this variable will destroy the session data. That means if you refresh now, the message is gone. That means only for one time this message will be shown in front of you. So I have shown you that how to add data into the database using a form, and how we can make the validation for this form, and how we can use the error and success message. You have learned all this from this lecture.